Good morning, everyone. My name is Tim. I'm a full-time eBayer out of Northwest Montana. I sell over $200,000 a year in sales on eBay, doing things from estate sales, from garage sales, from thrift stores, you name it, I'm buying and selling. And on this channel, I live pack my orders so you can see exactly what I'm picking up, so you might be able to do the same. I like to talk about what we're picking up, like to talk about why we're picking it up, and then I also like to chat with people who might want to tune in live. So the channel is a little bit clunky. If this is something you're wanting polished, this is not the polished channel. This is something some people like to just have on in the background. Maybe do a little co-working in the mornings, packing orders. Some people hop into chat. Some people just like to have this on in the background. Well, maybe they're getting some work done. I gotta fix my webcam here quick before we get going, because it's auto-focusing and that drives me nuts. I know it might drive other people nuts too. There we go. All right, so today what do we got? We got 15 orders, I think. Gonna scroll on my ticker, and that's how I'm gonna just look at it. I'm not even gonna pull my eBay up. There we go. 15 orders going out for over $600 today. Pretty standard day as far as the dollar amount, but the orders is a little more. I sell an average of 12 items a day, and we have a few lower dollar ones today, but bread and butter is what keeps the lights on. So these were listed in November. Some Solomon Sense riding shoes. These are women's shoes. November 17th. Let's go find these ones and double checking SKUs to make sure I get the right one. Yeah, I pick up a lot of Solomon. A lot of these the women's ones do worse, but the trail running shoes, you'll see I pack a lot of these because a lot of these come through my area. These look like the right ones. And these are the Speed Cross, so those are different. But you'll see these guys have the quick lace. You can tell by that, it's that little thing you can cinch up, and then it's got that tread on the bottom for trail running. These are the Vibe model and size 9. Let me double check the size. Yep, we're all good to go. I've been double checking sizes more and more because sometimes AI lister can get that wrong. These guys just going in a bag, and they'll head off here. Yeah, these people actually messaged me and they wanted the order out as soon as possible because they need it for a race coming up or something. They wanted it by whatever date. And, I don't change anything on my end. I just do what eBay tells me to do, and we're going to be just fine on all that. So hopefully they don't pull the move of doing the weekend, doing the race, and then returning them. I've had that a couple times, but we'll see. And as long as the tread is good on these, especially for men's, they will sell. Cosmetics don't matter as much for these functional shoes. I do like to double bag the shoes, just make them nice and taut. Put a shipping label in there. And I tape the outside of the bag to make sure it's good to go. Hopefully things are going well in your businesses. If you happen to wander into this live, or you're catching the replay, throw me a chat or throw me a comment so I know you're here. It's great to know who's popping into the channel. I can see my chat, but I cannot see right now my stats on who's actually in the channel. We are starting a little sooner than usual, so I might not have my usual couple people that are joining me live. Let's see, we got 13 by 7 by 5. Probably under a pound. We'll see. Nope, barely made 2. By 7 by 5. That label gets out of here. Been a good month so far, keeping up listing. Very consistent, making at least 12 listings go live every day. And trying to make sure I get a minimum of 20 bucks on each of them. And if I don't, I won't count that as a listing. Morning, pricers. Hey, good to see you here. Best sale in a while is a sleeping was in international sale. Do you use the eBay international program? Yes, I do. Good to see you. Good morning, the pricers. My loyal fan is here to chat this morning. We got the pricers in chat. Thanks for being here. eBay International is the best program. If you're not using eBay International, I believe you are losing out. All right, we got some Ralph Lauren rain boots. We'll grab these. 11.11. Yeah, I have eBay International just turned on for everything, and I would recommend everyone do the same. Because when people want it internationally, you said it's the best sale you've had in a while. Usually people just want to pay the money. They don't care because they want that specific item. I find a lot of my higher dollar sales go international. And eBay protects you like none other with the international program. These are not going to fit my biggest bag. I got to box them up. It's unfortunate because it's such a low dollar sale. But yeah, eBay International, highly recommend. Everyone should be on it. I'm glad. What'd you sell? What'd you sell internationally, pricers? Yeah, I find some of my biggest sales are international because they usually have the money, and they pay quite a bit for the service. eBay facilitates all the international shipping. You don't have to do a thing. You get it to their hub, and then you're good to go because then eBay handles the trip the rest of the way. And then, returns are really unheard of. eBay just takes care of you. Once it's to that hub, eBay deals with the rest of it. All right. Yeah, these are getting the white glove treatment when they're such a low dollar. I probably wouldn't pick these up again. But I get 18 bucks. I think I might have even taken an offer. Yeah, I think I took an offer for $15. Just, after the fees and shipping and box and everything, not my best sale, but it's money. Those did not fit my biggest poly, or they would just be shipping in a bag. All right. 20 by 14 by 6 and 5 pounds. Yeah, we're gonna like net $7 on that sale when all is said and done. But that's all good. Better than losing money. All right. 6 packs of lawn chairs webbing. Huh. 6-pack of lawn chair webbing, and paid $3 a box of them, new in packaging, sold for 110 bucks international. That's a great one. Like lawn chair webbing. Like, is that like mosquito netting are you talking about? Or maybe it's just the netting that goes over the lawn chair so you can use it, like not rip it. I always love the weird stuff. I love the stuff that is like, this is some random new in package item, some widget, some filter, some whatever, some nut, some bolt, some part. Sells for 100 bucks. This is not a $100 sale. This is just some of that Hallmark. You'll see a lot of Hallmark if you hang around here. Not that I think you should pick it up. I just have a good liquidation contact that I get it very, very inexpensive, and so I can move it at low prices. And the real money is not made on the one-offs like this. It's when they do bundle deals that I usually do pretty good around Christmas time. But this one is 2024, The Burn Book from Mean Girls. Let's go find this one. This could take a little bit because this is an older one. Very old lawn chairs. It's the material used. Oh, so okay, so just old lawn chairs, the material on the lawn chairs themselves. I can't say I've ever found that. All right, it's going to be in this box. Yeah. These are hardly worth selling because I think I got this one sold for $7.25. But they paid shipping and they overpay on, I had in the everything with shipping. So it's really like $5. And we'll make a few dollars on it. Again, please don't go buy Hallmark stuff. I say this every time I pack up a Hallmark ornament, unless it's the old Star Wars stuff. This is just something I do because I have the right contact to get it for dirt cheap. And usually when I get that, it's a bulk deal where most of my money is made on the bigger ones. And this just keeps the show moving. There we go. Got 8 ounces. One of those you find at a garage or shed of estate sales. I'm guessing you walked past them. Yeah, I'm going to have to give it a quick Google. I'm going to do that right now. Lawn chair webbing. I'm going to check it out on eBay. I might even find your store. Let's see. Lawn chair webbing. Oh, I gotcha. Okay. So there's like this striped kind of material. Oh, and it's like when it's woven on the lawn chairs. I've sold those before. I've sold the lawn chairs that are actually woven. That's what you're talking about. Okay, okay, okay. And people are selling like the 3-packs so that they can. I gotcha. Now I know exactly what you're talking about. So now I had to see it to understand. Here, I can pull these up quickly. People should be able to see this. This is like, let me double check that I'm doing this right. Oh no, I can't just do that. I got to work on my stream to be able to. I'll figure that out another day. I could actually share this window, but I'm not going to do that right now. It's the webbing when it's woven on the lawn chairs for the old ones. Yeah, I've sold those all the time, or not all the time. I've sold those a few times when they're easy enough to ship. Usually go UPS or FedEx, and I've sold the actual chairs. I've never sold the webbing though. That's good to remember. I'm going to keep an eye out for those. People just want the fresh webbing to redo their chairs. Got a little silver this morning. This was at the sale this last week where I had a gal. Oops, I got to pull up a new window. Go. This was at the sale this last week where I got there almost an hour early to a no early bird sale, and I walked out friends with the host of the sale. Can you believe it? No, we were very polite in how we approached it. Talked to her, said, hey, I'd be happy to wait in my car. I know people show up early to these things. I just wanted to be first. And she was very inviting. We'd actually met before, had a little connection, so it was great. But in all that, I went through the ornament box and found this sterling. Kind of priced it where it's at. I don't know what the market would be. 16 grams of sterling right now. I don't know exactly where that's at. Maybe they're getting it under melt. I don't know. I just priced, because these sell all the time. I just priced it high as far as like the last one sold, and so I think the last one was like 25. We got $30. It's all good. We'll throw this in a box. Now, when you're going through ornament boxes, this is one to keep an eye out for: the Reed and Barton ornament cross. They make a cross every year for a certain span of time. I've sold one of these before, and if it's straight sterling, it's always going to have value. She also had some plate silver. She was trying to convince me it might be real silver. And I was almost buying it for a second, but the tarnish was off. And then I finally found the plate marking on it. Then eased all my pain of like, should I actually spend $50 on this? But she legitimately didn't know. I believe her 100%, but she legitimately didn't know if it was silver or not. Not this, but there were some candlesticks I was looking at. And they were plate. $1 into 30 is not bad at all. All right. What do we have next? This, I believe, is the best sale of the day, or the highest sale of the day. Depends on how you define best. Sometimes 1 into 30 that takes no work is the best. These are a pair of New Balance 577 Farmers Market shoes made in England. I have never found New Balances made in England, but I suppose this one branch of them, the Farmers Market style, like they're made in England. They're super, high quality, fancy. These were in great condition when I picked them up. Going into 80 bucks. I know we're in it for less than 10. I forget where these got picked up. It might have been the bins. It might have been my over the summer. See, but the problem is I've been putting everything together lately. I don't remember where anything comes from, but it doesn't matter where it comes from. We're making money on it. 4.6. These sold in less than a week. Where are you at? Listed you. Ah, there you are. And since they made it over the threshold for 30 bucks, I will throw them in a box here. I like to box up anything higher value like this. I've never found a pair like this. This is the wrong box. I do sell some New Balances when they're really clean, especially when they're the kind that kind of have that trail running bottom, or the skate shoes. Those do well. But I also pass on a lot of New Balance because there's some that's just mass produced, not as desirable. But usually whenever you see something that's advertising made in England, usually pretty good. It's expensive to make stuff there, just like it's expensive to make stuff in the US. So anytime you see something made in the US, worth taking a look into. So even though I've never sold a pair of these before, since we saw made in England, of course you're going to look that up. And I was not disappointed with the comps. Let's get this packing slip in there. All right. Nice sale on them. And when they're more desirable, higher price stuff, you usually move it pretty quick. All right, next you got more shoes. Got some Red Wings. Condition doesn't matter really on these old Red Wings. These pretty beat up, pretty gross looking, but balding on the soles, but they still sold for 60 bucks. In about a month, we'll pay well over double that for a good clean pair, and then people will pay 4 or 5x that for like a new pair. But a good beat up pair that they can refinish, that they can still make work, I get 60 bucks out of. So we got February 18th. Let's find these. Now this is one of those rare brands and you find the old boots that are these or the whites or the Knicks. I'm just picking them all up because it doesn't matter. February 18th. Are you way down here? You're hiding from me. Bottom corner right here. Go. Double check my SKU because I have so many of these listed all the time. Eight and a half E. Okay, these are super faded. 8.5 E. These are them. I think. All right, good to go. For me, it hit that box threshold. We are going to throw them in a box. 60 bucks, even though they're old work boots. And they don't need it. Sure, these will get refinished and have some new life breathed into them. All right, we got 5 pounds and 6. Morning, Artie Mike. Good to have you here. Thanks for popping in this morning. Got pretty average day of sales going out. A lot of lower dollar stuff. This is probably the second most expensive item we sold. Hopefully you had a good night of sales. Hopefully things are going well for you. Let's see what's next. Oh, we got some offers midstream. They want to buy some Hokas for me and they want to give me 32 bucks. Sure. You can have the Hokas that were listed over 3 months ago for 32 bucks. Sweet. All right. What do we got? We got Guitar Hero. We are finishing again. Way less video games than we had 2 weeks ago when we started doing these streams. We finished up the lot of them. These, I had 3 copies of it. And I listed a multi-quantity, which I seldom do on video games because people want to see the quality. But when I do multi-quantity on something like this, I take pictures of the worst one so that they can only get a better copy if they do a multi-quantity order. So let's get this guy out. Warriors of Rock complete in box. All right. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and envelope this one. I seldom have trouble with it. Get this out of there. I am probably I'm thinking today, as I look around in my office, I think today might be the day I finally go get the another load from my storage locker. I've usually will have cleaned out the locker by now. But this is we've been crushing it this year, just doing better than I've ever done before, where I've not had to pull into that locker yet. So once the inventory starts flowing here in the summer, I'll tell you what, I might need to get another unit or hire somebody. What percentage returns do you get, and what category gives you the most returns? Artie Mike asks. I honestly don't watch my returns very much. I'm gonna guess. I'll find it really quick. I'm gonna guess my returns are under 3%, and the category that gives the most, I'm gonna guess, is shoes. I also sell the most shoes, but it's part of the game with shoes and clothes. So how do I even find that? Let's see. We'll pull that up really quick, or at least I thought it was going to be really quick. Performance, there we go. Click through, traffic, sales conversion, uploaded on time. Goodness, I've not checked this for forever. If you know where to find this. This is not something I usually care about or look at unless I'm finding it's a problem. Probably a good thing to know. Orders returns, like, is it going to be in returns? Surely not in returns. Yeah, now you got me more curious than anything. I gotta find where this is because I don't look at my return rates. Like, it's not high enough for me to ever. There, is it in your seller level? Ah, there we go. It is. It's in your seller level. So if you're looking for this seller dashboard, seller level. So top rated, blah 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 blah. 1,200 transactions, doing good. My return rate is 3%. So I was pretty close. Yeah, I think I said right under 3%. My highest actually looks like it's sporting goods, which would be, I sell a lot of my cleats and like, or my running shoes. There's some boots categories that are considered sporting goods. So, and like the ski boots and the mountaineering boots sometimes are sporting goods. So that makes sense. 9% for those. Consumer electronics is 7%, but we're talking like less than 100 transactions for each of these. And then for most categories, so like for everything is 29 returns out of 1,100, so 2.5%. So if you average it all out, I am 3% return rate across the board. So that's pretty much what I expected. That's pretty much what I expected. I thought it was, I forget, I think I said under 3%. Pretty close. All right, moving on. We got Guitar Hero out of here. Coco. This, I wanted to go Amazon, but Disney is hard to ungate, and I'm not taking the time to play the game and ungate it on Amazon. So, you know, it's not a high dollar sale, but this was a bins pickup. I pay less than $1 for this, and we got $8 plus shipping, and they paid the shipping. So let's find this one. I'd much prefer to just scan it, put it in a box, send it to Amazon, make $5 and never see it again. But lo and behold, we are gated. And the way the API changed on Amazon, it's hard to, you can't really tell as you scan if you're going to be gated or not. At least with the app I use. Or it's not been, you can turn it on, but it's not been consistently showing me the right data. So, and it doesn't matter. Gated on Amazon, I'll still get $5 on eBay. It's not a hard pack. It goes straight into this and straight out the door. Competition for books has been getting a little more fierce at my bins. It's good that most of the books I don't pick up or I pick up that are good are not at the bins. Been hitting that every day, and been a couple book hounds that have been really going after it. What's up, Leslie? It's good to have Leslie in the chat. We got 14 by 13 by 1. It doesn't matter. It's media mail anyway. Hopefully you had a good night of sales, a good day of sales. Good time at the booth. I'm sure I'll see you today at some point. Pretty average day over here. 15 sales for a little over $600. Been doing 12 a day pretty consistently. All right. And there's my pity prize for not being able to send it to Amazon. I've sent 3 boxes to Amazon this month. And my goal is only to send 1 a month. So we're doing really well on the Amazon front. Solomon Outline Gore-Tex shoes took a week or 2 to sell. These ones, I always are picking up the Solomons. We already packed up a pair or 2 of these today. These are the better ones, the Gore-Tex with the high heel, the high top, and they're men's, so they're going to do a little bit better. Let's find these. $331, and they look like that. There we go. Solomon Outlines. Let's see. Looking good, looking good. Double check the size. Are my size 11s. Excitement at the booth on Monday. I didn't work, but a clerk caught a guy trying to walk out with a sword down his pants. A sword down his pants, Leslie. Ooh, that's a bold move. Excuse me, sir. Is that a sword in your pants, or are you just... Okay, we're not going to go there. But yes, a sword in your pants, down, trying to hide it from at the booth. That's hilarious. Oh, my goodness. Like, what are you thinking? What are you honestly thinking? You're gonna just put this sword down your pants? Oh, gosh. It's like walking with, like, a hobble. Man, booth life is another thing. So I know Leslie already knows this, but for other people, I was at an estate sale the other day, and the gal passed on a high dollar item just because she didn't want to have it in her booth because, like, it might get stolen. And that's, I don't know. Oh, I'm in the wrong size bag. I grabbed my other bag. But things disappear regularly. Leslie says they disappear all the time at booths. And so if you're not willing to lose it, you don't really put it up in your booth, because there's a chance that someone's going to walk out with that. That's funny, though. Did they prosecute there? I mean, is he... I'm guessing is getting some consequences, I'd hope, so he doesn't do it as much. At the thrift stores in my area, they do not prosecute. I've heard from the manager that they will never actually prosecute anybody, criminal charges, but they trespass people. So, like, if someone steals, like, they're not going to stop them from stealing. But they do trespass them, and then they can have them arrested the next time if they're on the property and they're not supposed to be on the property. Kind of a waste of time. We got his picture and told him not to come back. Oh, gosh. Well, that sucks. It's a waste of time, huh? I guess I could see. Like, it's not really going to discourage anybody else. So I guess that's similar to trespassing him. Like, same kind of thing. Take his picture, don't come back here. And call the cops next time he shows up. The lady you got your jacket from did lose a $150 vintage Carhartt last week. Dang. $150 Carhartt, growing legs and walking out of your booth. That hurts. For all the crap that people say about eBay, like complaining about the fees, complaining about sometimes the cases or this, that, and the other, or your traffic or your metrics or this, whatever. You know, people have so many complaints about eBay. It's honestly got such great protections for shenanigans, you know? I've never really had too many problems. 13 by 9 by 6. But it's definitely not like running a booth where things can just walk away. You play by the rules, you do what you're supposed to on eBay, you are protected. They have such great protections. Will people get away with silly stuff? Yes, absolutely they will. But it's so few and far between. Not like someone walking out with a sword down their pants from your booth. That's funny. All right. What do we got next? Good to see you, Leslie. Good to see you. We also got Arnie, Mike, and Pricers who are hanging out. If you have wandered into this channel, we live pack orders here from my eBay store. And I love to just talk about what we're selling. We love to talk about anything reselling related you want to talk about. Throw something in the chat. Let me know you're here. Throw a comment if you are here after the fact and just catching this. A lot of people like to just put this on. It's kind of a background noise when they're working to, I don't know, have a simulated coworker, if you will. Heritage Press book lot. This is the one. I almost packed the wrong order the other day. This is another one of those lots of books that whenever, we're right over here. Whenever I get a bunch of these old books together, usually by the same maker, the same publisher, that's what I'm looking for. People are always looking, double checking this is the right one, because I almost sent the wrong one to someone last week. There we go, this is the right one. I will lot them up. I'll take pictures. I like to take pictures of, you know, how much space they take up. I take it with a ruler too, because most people buying these are not buying them to read. Most people buying these are buying them for decor. Maybe they have a Airbnb they're trying to outfit. Maybe they just want to make their shelf look cool. And so sometimes people buy them. Like if you lot the classics up, some people will buy the classics to read. But most people are buying these for decor. And I'm always getting these for $1 or less when I buy them for this purpose. Because obviously, you know, someone's asking like $5 a hardback. You can't pay $5. Pay 35 into 40 doesn't make sense. Lose your shirt that way. But when these are $1 or less, I will pick them up, or if I get them free out of a lot, which I do a lot of times, I'll lot them up. Oops. And I got to reload my tape because I have the space to wait. These were listed a couple months ago, so it didn't take too long. And this is just a bread and butter for me. I do a lot of these, especially when I'm hauling houses full of books during the estate sale season. Right, 15 by 10 by 8. I'm going to bump them to ground advantage because I'm saving $2 on the shipping. Sometimes that's the case when they're packages like this. They will save I'll save $2 on the shipping and they'll get them sooner. So there we go. Yeah, so keywords you're going to want to use there, you know, like decor, staging. Sometimes people put staging in that. I didn't on this one. But if people are searching for decor or staging, that's usually the person buying these types of books. Merrill shoes. A lot of shoes going out today. I did just finish most of my shoes that I've had waiting to get processed. And I also did a batch of clothing, so a couple of clothes have been going out lately. I always pick up these Merrills when they're mesh with the, I think these ones are the ones that don't have any metal in them, so metal detectors like them. The Moab, I believe. These might actually be Moabs, but my AI lister didn't pick that up, and I was too lazy to add it. Maybe could have got a couple more bucks if I did add that, because people like searching for that exact model. We are moving fast on these. Where are you at? Those are my Keens, not my Merrills. Oh, they're there. All right. 873. Oh, yeah. And it's got the model number, too. So since it's got the model number, people are going to search for that when they're searching for the Moab. So I think these are Moab. People like, because I do believe they have no metal in them. Leslie, you need to go change your name. You keep retracting your messages because I know you don't want your name out on the chat. But you can do that today. Go to your YouTube settings if you want to do that. All right. Let's get this going. Oh, the sun is up. It's a beautiful day, friends. We had great weather around here. I think everyone's going to be gearing up for some garage sales this weekend. I already got a few on the list, along with the biggest auction that we see in our area. There's a nice rummage sale that runs with that auction, and I usually crush it every year at that. And I think I said it the other day on the channel. I maybe have said it a couple times, but there's a kid, a 20-something-year-old, every year, the last 2 years, has volunteered at the auction, and so they let him in first to get first dibs at the rummage sale. And I've considered it. I could still call him up, and I could still volunteer to get first dibs, but man, that's a dirty move. The sweet little old ladies running that sale have no idea what's happening. And, you know, I don't think I'd have any problem with it unless they actually understood that the main audience of your sale is resellers. And this kid is using the system to get in there, which props to him. But we'll see how that sale goes. Should have some good hits this weekend. One more little piece of tape, that one. It's good to go. 14 by 8 by 6. All right. Next up, got some Hokas. The Speed Goats without laces. I stock laces for all my boots. I don't stock laces for running shoes. Maybe I should start doing that. Honestly, just the work it takes to lace them up. I'm lazy. I'd rather just take more photos, get them out, let them lace them up. But maybe I need to start throwing some laces in with some of these. These sold for $34, I think, on an offer, $33, something like that. And I think was a bins pickup, just because usually when they don't have laces, when they don't have the insoles, they're usually throwing them to our bins. They don't want to sell them in their store. And so I do pick up a considerable amount of these even without the laces or insoles, but people have no problem throwing in their own. 12D, 12, and these are the speed goats. Yes. Because if they're shopping eBay, they're usually looking for a deal. And so if they're looking for a deal, they're usually used to replacing and fixing things on their own. These are at least, a couple $100 in the store retail. So they throw a new pair of laces on this for a couple bucks. They're going to get in for under $50 on a pretty decent looking pair. Treads are actually really nice on these. Right. Yeah, I don't take the time to try to squeeze every dollar out of every item. Just because my time is better spent just packing other items, listing other items, finding other items, than trying to, clean these guys up too much, relace them, take beautiful pictures, try to get like $80 out of them when I can just list 10 more things and do just fine. At least that's what I like to do. I'm going to tuck this in a little tighter on this package. Make sure they don't move. Leslie's waving. You leaving? We'll see you later. I'll see you at the bins. Hopefully it's a good day over there. Ever since we got it added about a couple years back, I've made it a daily habit to hit our bins. If you don't, I'll tell you what. This is my personal opinion. If you live in an area that has a Goodwill bins in a large metropolis, and we'll define large as, oh, you tried to change your name and it didn't work. Well, good to still have you here, Leslie. If you live in an area with the bins and a large metropolis, we're going to define that metropolis as over 1 million people in the greater area. I'm talking about the greater area, not just the city, but like if you have a bins with a fairly decent population, you really don't have an excuse to not have inventory. 15 by 9 by 6. That's my opinion. And 2 pounds. Now, bins shopping is not the best stuff. Don't get me wrong. You're doing a lot of bulk. You're finding the gems, but you have constant opportunity. You can always go somewhere to find stuff. You always have a chance where there are some places, and what our place was like, where I live, was like before this place arrived. There's just no opportunity in the winter to really find stuff unless you're going to drive 10 hours south and try to load up down there and come back. But I've tried the bins in 4 or 5 different cities now, where we've done Omaha, we've done Spokane, we've done California, we've done, oh wait, did I go to California bins? I was with the family. No, I never got over there. So we did New York, Omaha, Spokane, Salt Lake, Vegas. I've been to 5 bins. And at each bins, I pulled out with over $100 in my time there. Just even if it was a few hours, it was always over $100. So I've never been to a bins 30 miles away. Advice for a first timer. Ooh. It depends on the bins. Every bin's going to have their different culture, but honestly, grab first, look later. That's probably the best advice. Another Guitar Hero. So the second one in this lot sold. But every bins is going to have a different culture. Kind of tread lightly, figure out what the culture is like there. But for the most part, I think as a generality, people, you want to get there, early. And I think 30 minutes early is not bad. Because they usually do restocks overnight. and then kind of watch where other people are going the first time to see what they might have restocked, because maybe they only restock a certain section of the store overnight, and kind of just go for it. And then you're wanting to get a cart as quick as you can to put stuff into your cart that might have value. Don't look things up. Don't think about it. Just get as much as you can into that cart that might have value. And then once the feeding frenzy is over for that particular rotation, or for when the store opens, then hang out by your cart, look things up, see what you want, and throw back the stuff you don't. I think you really just got to experience it one time. And once you've experienced it and kind of see what's going on, you'll understand. But people don't actually like with the bins, it's grab first, look later. That's probably the biggest advice. Because everyone's just looking for the new stuff that's hitting the floor. You grab first, look later. The pricer said, you just described how I got my wife. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's great. The bins are a different animal. So I don't know. And it's hard, like if someone was asking for advice to hit my bins, which is not actually a bins, it's not Goodwill related. They're a pay by the pound in a small area that has specific rotations. Like, you can't just show up at my bins any time of the day and do well, because they restock overnight. And there's certain areas they're going to restock overnight. And if you were there the day before, you're going to know what they restocked. And you're going to kind of see the pattern. But I'm just talking about general Goodwill bins that only restock, they restock like every half hour or every 45 minutes. You want to just watch that rotation come in. Usually there's like a line you stand behind. They'll ring a bell, or they'll say, go ahead. And then everyone just kind of rushes the goods, and it's grab. You just grab as much as you can. You look like a third world country in some bins. People are just grabbing stuff. And then once you've gotten elbowed by enough middle-aged women and you're content with what you've got, you put it back at your cart. You check out what you might have. It's not for everybody. I want to put that out there. Hanging 4-3. I guess the reason I got on the topic was that if sometimes I've said, man, I can't find anything, man, I'm having no inventory, and I've had that trouble. And I think that you honestly can have that trouble when you don't have a bins. Like, I think there's some rural areas where you're gonna have to drive 5, 10, even 10 hours, especially in the winter, to get to anywhere that's gonna have a decent concentration of inventory. But if you have a bins, you have the population and stuff is flowing through that place like crazy. There are some people that make their full-time living just out of fishing at the bins for all the stuff they need. So that's all I'm saying, is that there's plenty of opportunity when you have an area big enough to support a bins. Not necessarily that you should run to the bins because it's this gold mine that has all the best stuff. It doesn't. It has the leftovers. And the real way that I make most of my money is going to estate and garage sales, or working with storage locker people, or this, that, and the other, where you're moving up the chain rather than going to the bottom of the chain. So, and honestly, for my bins, the gig is almost up. It's we got about 40 people knocking down the door every morning now, and there's enough inventory to maybe support 5 of them. So, is what it is, though. Gloves or no gloves? That's a question about the bins people ask. I am team no gloves, because I can't wait to get poked by something and get some disease. No. I'm team no gloves because you got to feel the textures. when you're touching, especially when I do a lot of the boots and the shoes and stuff, you can quickly tell the faux leather versus the real leather, and you can quickly tell your fabric types, like, you know, the canvas, especially like if you're looking for old Carhartt, stuff like that, you're going to be able to tell this is a cheap Bernie or a cheap faded Glory, whatever, like, versus this is a canvas vintage Carhartt. Once you've touched enough of it, you can tell in a second, you know, without gloves. Gloves is a lot harder in my opinion. But I also, pricers, I don't want you or anybody else to run to a bins and think it's a gold mine. So just let it be said that you could whiff it. You could find completely nothing, or, you know, it could just be this crazy thing that you're not wanting to do. So all I'm trying to communicate here is that if you have a bins, you have a big enough area to probably find some decent inventory. What are the percentages clothing versus hardware? I'm going to assume you mean hard goods, like out of bins. I have no one else to ask. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying here. So what are the percentages clothing versus hard? Like as a what moves through a bins? In my experience, it's like a 70-30. In my experience at the 5 I've been to, is it's like 70% clothing, shoes, that kind of stuff, and 30% hard goods. So like your no, it's not all some bins have heavier clothing than others, like more, but it's hard goods and clothing at most bins. I should say every bin. Really, every bin is going to have hard goods and clothing. And then they'll stagger the rotation. So like sometimes you'll have all the clothing will come out on a rotation, and some places all the hard goods come out on rotation. Some places they'll do a little bit of both. So you really just got to go and figure it out, what yours is like. But no, there is hard goods too. But I will say that the most opportunity is probably found in the clothing, because they process so much that, and they don't have the knowledge for all of it. Nike mids, just a small little sale here, January 13th. Yeah. Because most of the money is going to be in the stuff that doesn't have a SKU, or it doesn't have one-to-one comps. And so they're just moving this clothing, moving these shoes straight through. I think these are the only ones I have of these. But yeah, you either love the bins or you hate the bins. And I think it's a personality thing, personally. I remember all my adventures in Vegas. In Vegas, I do a lot of books too, so I pick up media everywhere, so just make that a given. But in Vegas, I picked up an ice cream, is it White Mountain? I forget the brand of the ice cream makers. But it was the motor for an old ice cream maker that I sold for about $100. I picked that up at the bins in Vegas, along with a few other miscellaneous odds and ends. I think a couple, like a radio or something. There was some kind of maybe a VHS DVD combo kind of a thing. And picked up a decent amount of clothing and a lot of books. When I went to New York, excuse me, picked up a couple hemp shirts, some kind of corset. I did okay. It was way more clothing when I was in New York and did that one. Couple pairs of shoes that did okay for me. I want to say some Sorels. Pricer says that they do very little clothing. They hate the photo taking process, but make money on what they've done. Yep. That is the barrier to entry on clothing for sure. It's the photos. It used to be the knowledge. It used to be like knowing this, that, and the other about the clothing. And now with AI, that's hardly a barrier. Maybe when you're buying it to know what to buy. But now if you can just take the photos, take the measurements, AI is doing the rest of it. It's getting your keywords. It gets you at least 80% of the way there, so you can close the gap for the last 20. But truth be told, pricers, I hate selling shoes. I hate the shoe process. I don't like taking photos. I don't enjoy shoes. It's not something I love, but 13 by 8 by 5. But I do like the money. I don't think I have an attachment to any item I sell. Not that you're saying that that's why you don't do clothing. You don't do clothing because of the measurements, but. All right. I did not preload these last two. I got you. Photos never look good to me. Maybe I'm too picky. Maybe you are. I think it's safe to assume that most people are too picky about their clothing photos. People are buying it for what it is, usually not for the photos. Although women's clothing is a different game. I think there's a certain market that's going to want, you know, a mannequin and really nice lighting and, you know, maybe ironed or this, that, and the other. And then there's other markets that, you know, for men's clothes, like work clothes, Carhartt, that kind of thing, they don't care. Just throw it down, take some pictures, maybe put a measurement, and, you know, you're good to go. Gotta grab these. I don't have photos for the last two. So maybe I can quickly grab photos for the last two. No, that won't work. All right, these sold midstream, but I'm going to go ahead and pack them up. So we've got, for fun, I'm going to go throw it back on these guys. These are not what, this is the best sale of the day. We got New Balance 577s. I already packed these up. But we're going to pack up these Asics. These were a retail arbitrage I overpaid for. They've been sitting for well over a year. Still going to make a few bucks on them. But there's some Asics women's running shoes new in the box. I believe was Kohl's arbitrage. They do their insane 50% off clearance every once in a blue moon. And I'll check it out. We do have a Kohl's here that can make a couple bucks. Let's find this guy. Size 6, Mutt Gray. I believe these are in my shop. Yep. And that's them. The Asics women's shoes. I throw these in. Okay. I'll probably net, honestly, only about $8 from this. They've been sitting for way too long. I probably double or tripled up on the first few because they were the new model. And now you got to get in and get out fast on these ones, or they sit for forever and then you don't make as much money. So I did not move them quick enough. But we'll at least make a little bit. Gotta get a new roll of paper. If anybody out there knows a good paper supplier, I have been using Supply Hut for forever, and they're not bad, but I feel like it's gotten pretty expensive for this stuff. And if I can find someone local, they got to be paying like 20 bucks to ship this to me. So I don't know. I use Supply Hut. They've worked for me. It just seems like it's gotten pretty pricey. There we go. $14, 10 by 6 and 3. All right, so we paid 20. They sold for 38 bucks. After shipping and all that, we'll probably make around $8-10 after all the fees. For retail arbitrage, it took too long to sell. Goes out of here. And then this is the offer that came through earlier in the stream. We're going to go ahead and pack up, so I can't show it on the display. But $32 for some Hoka Torrent 2s that have been listed for a couple months, I think. 3 months. 12/20 is when they were listed. 12/20. Let's go find these ones. Over here. Hoka Torrent 2, there they are. These are going to fit my smallest bags. Bring this over here. Are the pricing formats different at different bins, and what are the types of pricing? So if you're trying to source at bins, the pricing will be different at every bins. Most bins comes in at under $2 a pound for all the clothing, and usually it's about $1.50 or so for hard goods. Sometimes they just put it in one category of mixed goods. So everything is by the pound. And then some bins that I've been to will take bigger items like electronics or some kind of home goods that are just heavier, and they'll saran wrap them up and throw a price on them, or they give you a price at the counter. We'll actually come up with a price because no one's going to buy it by the pound for those. And a lot of books keep their, a lot of bins, I got to go up a size, darn it. A lot of bins keep their media separate. So like, paperbacks, maybe 50 cents, hardbacks, maybe $1, things like that. So every bins will have a different pricing structure, but for the most part, it is pay by the pound. You just got to check out what the rate is at yours. I have probably the lowest rate in the country at my bins. And it's stupid, but we don't get the volume, and we don't get the quality that a lot of other bins get. So there's a trade-off. But our pricing is stupid low. It's 75 cents a pound for everything mixed goods and $1 a pound for clothing. Most bins are going to come in at about double that. Let's see. I actually don't want that. I want this. The difference is that my bins, I have about 1 hour in the morning when they're putting stuff out where it's actually worth your time to go. And they put stuff out all day, but it's such a small area that we don't get the same kind of inventory flow that most places do. Thus the low pricing. Yeah. As I've said a couple times, the real money, I love the bins. You should check the bins out. Pricers, if you haven't been there, give it a shot. Go fight, like the third monkey getting on the ark and it's about to rain. Because that's what it's like. You're fighting with everybody for all the inventory. Go experience it. Go see what it's like. But honestly, the most money in this game is made when you find the stuff that's not at the bins yet. Because that's where the trash ends up. There's a few gems that slip through, and there's lots of volume. But get to the places before it hits the bins. It's just the best opportunity I have for my time. 12.75 in my smaller area. All right. I'm going to do the next pack off stream. It's going to take a little bit of time. I did have a third sale coming during the stream. It was a $100 video game lot. Just bulk cases, discs that I put on auction. But I'm going to do that one off stream just because it's going to take a little bit of time and we're wrapping up here. So if you wandered into this channel today and you're still here, or maybe if you are catching the replay, I do this every day, Monday through Thursday, packing orders live. Chat with people about anything maybe reselling related you want to chat about. Talk about the items that I have, and you know, it's clunky, it's slow, but it's kind of this maybe a background noise for some people to work with somebody, work alongside someone, even if you're not catching it live. Throw me a comment, let me know you were here. Click the little heart button on that YouTube, give it a like. That'll push it in the algorithm for me and for you, and so that more people can find this content and we can help as many people as we can and hang out with as many people as we can in the morning. So good to see you, Pricers. Good to see you, Mark. Good to see you, Leslie. If anybody's still here, just thanks for popping in. I'm going to go ahead and turn the stream off, and we'll catch you next time.